Hello and welcome back to my channel, and today we're taking a look at Exfil. Now this is an upcoming early access extraction milsim game, which I know you might think sounds like anything else that's come out within the last 2 years, but the whole point for this particular game is there is no gear level, there is no grinding, there's no magical perks or abilities. You are literally just an infantry level soldier playing with your team, and you have to complete objectives. And it's a little bit, I would want to say from description, kind of like a battle royale, because there's multiple teams operating in the same vicinity with a set objective, and only one team apparently can get out. So not only have to coordinate your movement as a squad and engagement rules and all that stuff, you also need to kind of complete your objective and survive in the meantime, which in reality usually is pretty much very close to that. You know, there's usually someone operating in the same AO, and you have no idea who you're gonna meet. The local militia, another task force, someone else. So, you know, you just need to get in and get out. Now, let's talk about requirements. Requirements of the bat are a little bit steep, but then again, I do believe they will be flushed out once the game's development progresses a bit further. The minimum CPU required is an 13th gen i5, at least 8 gigs of RAM, and at least GTX 1080. And for recommended requirements for this game is 14th gen i7, at least 16 gigabytes of RAM, and GeForce 3080, which, to be fair, rather steep requirements. Then again, it is kind of semi-open world. There's a little bit of ballistics, a little bit of flare, so it is how it is. Let's look at the settings. As per usual, we're going with the 2K native resolution, full screen, everything's cranked up on Epic, including global illumination and post-processing as per usual. I don't know why vertical sync is on, but we're gonna turn it off. No DLSS, no reflex low latency, no FSR3, no frame gen. And obviously you can set up your preferred frame rate if you want. And that's pretty much all there is. You can see there's nothing really much in here. So let's jump in and do a training mission just to see how the game looks and feels. And in reality, I must say, I do like that certain studios are kind of looking at the realism aspect rather than, you know, this run and gun features like certain games will actually offer you. Now, granted, this game is not fully finished as of yet, so you kind of have to coming to terms with this, but let's have a look what we already have. So we're pulling 7 gigs of video memory allocated, 8.9 or almost 9 gigs of RAM, and we're getting around 80-ish frames, so 74, so 80-ish at any given time. The game looks kinda very simple, but at the same time there's not too much eye candy in here when it comes to it. There's a couple very basic mechanics already in the game, which is the selecting your grenade types, selecting your fire modes, single or automatic, and stuff in between. Now, the game does have a couple things where it's not flushed out. For instance, you can still move through assets, there's not collisions in place. But then again, this is more of a technical preview than, you know, go play. You can play it already, but, you know, the mileage might vary in terms of what you're gonna encounter. My favorite thing about this game, however, is the sound design. Like, let me show you. So this is just single fire mode, and let's shoot at some things. You can hear that the audio design actually is pretty good. Not only you can hear the gun, if the bullet ricochets, you get this little cracked snip, which I think is kind of like something we want to hear and see in the games, and full auto sounds fantastic as well. No automatic reload, you have to do it manually. Currently you don't really have to feed in bullets into the mag, you already have a preset amount of mags you're carrying on you, so that's kind of cool. Look at the muzzle and the sparks. Yeah, exactly what you would expect from early access. But the thing is, considering this game is just out, it already runs better than certain other games out there that's been out for 8 years. And there will be a video coming in regards to that, because my personal opinion is I am really sick and tired of certain games that's been out, released in a while, and still being called as still being in a beta stage, which runs like crap, but hey, what do I know. But yeah, some of these collisions are actually in place for the objects. And it is not actually that bad. Now, the graphical fidelity for certain animations will be lacking. So for instance, if you throw a grenade, it will create a scorch mark. No craters, no nothing, so very basic scorch marks. In regards to flashbangs, probably my favorite thing, they actually act like flashbangs. Look at this. There's no white screen that's gonna blind you. There's just a high-pitched noise, and how it is. The whole game pretty much uses your GPS tag, where you can actually select multiple things. Let me just demonstrate real quick. You can see the groups that you're playing with. You can put the waypoints. You can mark enemy infantry or enemy drone locations, and so on and so forth. So honestly, this is already a bit more done than you would expect from some other extraction shooters. But the whole point is, this is not run and gun. I mean, obviously people will be playing this as run and gun, but I'm looking at the raw performance of the game in its current state, and I must say it is pretty decent. Like, considering the requirements that are being pushed out to us, we are pretty much getting no less than 70 frames, absolutely cranked out. So for a game which recommended GPU is 3080 and a 14th gen i7, I would want to say this is absolute win. And yeah, the graphical fidelity will improve. Also, the fact itself you have already integrated DLSS and FrameGen support is kind of nice. And if an old i9 can play this game in 2K, 80 frames at all, everything maxed, this is absolutely fine. Now, granted, multiplayer performance will vary. Depends on the servers and whatnot, but nevertheless. So we need to extract. But yeah, again, there's new kid in town, and it really just shows that the genre is not dead, and we're getting better things. We're literally getting more milsim styled games that still keeps on extraction, but it's not locked to the gear fear that, oh, if I picked something up and I lost it, now I have to re-grind again. There's no grind in this. This is essentially your boots on the ground, make it work. So got to give them where the credit's due, you know. At least the base idea is good. We'll see how it flashes out later on. The plans are relatively big for this game, so all within 2025, and updates and patches and content, which I must say, you know, just keep the performance there. Keep the performance at the same level or better if possible. Add a little bit of variety when it comes to graphical things, but even now, this is not exactly too taxing. Like, I cannot say this is too taxing, yeah, so yeah. I do like how it looks, and when it comes to the FOV, and this is, I think, one of the things, I did not find the slider for FOV, but I also kinda like seeing the gun this close, because this actually is relatively realistic when it comes... You can see your gun in your hands. So far there's no stamina gouges for running or shooting, but hey, it is how it is. It's gonna get better, trust me. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you in this game. Over and out.